The church bells tolled slowly as dark clouds gathered over the small town of Briarwood. The air was heavy, and rain tapped softly against the chapel windows as townsfolk filled the pews. Inside, Anna Carter sat in the front row, her hands clutching a folded photograph of her late husband, James Carter. Her face was pale, her eyes swollen from nights without sleep. Beside her sat their 6-year-old daughter, Lucy, clutching a small stuffed rabbit, unaware of the weight of the whispers around her. "They say she killed him," a woman murmured in the back pew. "I heard it was over money. She was tired of being poor." Another voice added. Anna heard them. Every word felt like a dagger. James had been found dead in their farmhouse kitchen, stabbed once in the chest. Though there was no evidence to convict her, the town had already passed judgment. Police called it a crime of passion. Likely domestic, the lead investigator had said. They couldn't prove she did it, but they didn't need to. Her reputation was already in ashes. The day after the funeral, Anna walked through town holding Lucy's hand. A man standing outside the general store spat at her feet. "Murderer," he hissed. Anna kept walking, her grip tightening on her daughter. She had lost her husband, and now she was losing everything else. Life for Anna spiraled downward. She sold the farmhouse, unable to bear the memories or the accusing stares every time she stepped outside. She and Lucy moved into a small, run-down cottage at the edge of town. No one would hire her. "I won't have a killer in my shop," one employer had said bluntly. Anna kept her head down, working odd jobs where she could, but the shame never left. Each night, as she tucked Lucy into bed, she whispered the same words. "I didn't kill him. One day, the truth will come out." Exactly 1 year after James's death, a stranger arrived in Briarwood. His name was Mark Dawson, a man with a weathered face and eyes that carried the weight of too many secrets. He rented a room at the local inn, paying in cash. Mark spent his days asking questions about the Carter family. "Why are you asking?" the innkeeper demanded. Mark's voice was calm but firm. "Because I knew James, and I know he didn't die the way they said he did." Mark visited the old Carter farmhouse, now abandoned. Dust coated every surface, but the echoes of that night still lingered. He crouched in the kitchen where James had been killed. On the floor, just near the back door, he noticed something the police had missed. A faint scuff mark that looked like a boot print. Mark's instincts sharpened. He questioned the original detectives. "Was there any sign of forced entry?" he asked. They shrugged. It was a domestic case. "We didn't think anyone else was involved." Mark felt anger boiling inside him. They hadn't even bothered to investigate properly. Mark dug deeper. Through old contacts, he discovered that James Carter had once testified against a violent criminal named Eddie Kane, a man who had sworn revenge in court years earlier. Eddie had been released from prison just 3 months before James's death. Mark's search led him to another man, Bill Harper, a local drifter with a long criminal record. Days after James was killed, Harper had suddenly come into money. Money traced back to Eddie Kane. It was becoming clear. Eddie had paid Harper to kill James, framing Anna by making it look like a domestic crime. One rainy evening, Mark sat outside the inn, watching the town square. That's when he saw him. Eddie Kane walked down the street with a smug grin, as though he owned the place. Word spread quickly. Anna froze when she spotted Eddie at the market, her heart pounding in terror. "You!" she whispered, her voice shaking. Eddie tilted his head, his grin widening. "Miss me?" Mark confronted Eddie in front of half the town. "Why are you here, Kane?" Mark demanded, stepping closer. Eddie laughed coldly. "Because I can be. The man's dead, the woman's ruined. My job's done." But Mark had been recording him the entire time. He handed the recording to the police chief, along with the evidence he had gathered, bank records, Harper's sudden wealth, and proof that Eddie had been near the farmhouse the night James died. Bill Harper was arrested first. It didn't take long for him to break under questioning. "Eddie paid me," he confessed, tears streaming down his face. He said James ruined his life. "I went in through the back door, stabbed him while he wasn't looking. I didn't know they'd blame Anna, but Eddie said it'd be easy that way." Gasps filled the courthouse when the confession became public. Eddie Kane was arrested days later. At trial, the prosecution laid out everything. Harper's confession, the bank transfers, Eddie's recorded taunts, and the evidence the original police investigation had ignored. Anna sat in the front row, Lucy's small hand gripping hers tightly. The jury found Eddie Kane guilty of first-degree murder and Harper guilty as an accomplice. Both men were sentenced to life in prison without parole. The judge looked at Anna with regret. "Mrs. Carter," he said solemnly, "our justice system failed you, but today we set it right." Anna wept openly, clutching Lucy. "See, baby," she whispered, "Mommy told the truth." The same townsfolk who had whispered behind her back now looked at her with shame. Some tried to apologize, but Anna didn't respond. She simply walked out of the courthouse, head high for the first time in over a year. Mark visited her the next day. "You could start fresh somewhere new," he said softly. Anna looked at him, tears in her eyes. "I think we will." Mark handed her an envelope, money he'd raised from people across the state who had heard her story. "You deserve more than survival," he said. "You deserve a life." Months later, Anna and Lucy left Briarwood. In a quiet town far away, Anna found work at a small bakery, where no one knew her as the widow who killed her husband. Lucy made new friends, her laughter finally returning. Mark visited often. To Anna, he wasn't just a man who cleared her name. He was proof that good people still existed. On the anniversary of James's death, Anna returned to Briarwood one last time. She visited his grave, kneeling in the soft grass. "They all blamed me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "But now they know the truth. Thank you for loving me, James. I hope you're proud of us." She placed a single white rose on the headstone, stood up and walked away, her heart lighter than it had been in years. Justice had come late, but it had come. The story of Anna Carter became a reminder that truth cannot stay buried forever, and that one person's courage can change everything. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful true stories of courage, justice, and hope. Until next time, stay informed, stay compassionate, and never underestimate the power of a single voice to change everything.